Hey folks, this is Brian. I have a church activity event tonight, so I would not be able to run my normal Saturday night game. So I pulled my players to see if we could run a Friday night, early Saturday morning in the UK, Saturday morning down under game for this one session. And I was able to get 3 of my players to show, and since that's half the party, I figured, okay, that's worth trying to run with. So we did. We had session 6 of the Chronicles of Carreen, specifically session 2 of chapter 2, a troll raid. We started off doing a review of what happened last session. And then decision point on where the players, want to start their search. They gathered up their hirelings, and Nathan, the hunter, whose tracking is only 50%. Only 50 is pretty decent, but still, this troll trail is over 2 weeks old now. So I know everybody knows that the trolls were headed towards Dwarf Ridge, but the town guards decided it was probably not such a good idea to chase trolls in the middle of the night during darkness season into the hills. So they didn't follow. So the party decides to follow that trail, and they do so. They get to the Dwarf Ridge without too many problems. There was a couple of rolls where Nathan missed his roll, so he had to kind of circle around till they found it again, kind of thing. And there was some concern on the party's part because there's only five cows. I mean, it was the end of it was the beginning of dark season, so Earth season's over. There weren't that many cattle left. They don't really know how many trolls were in that raid. There were beetles, and that didn't really come up until later. So there, was a trail, and they're not going down a road. They're going cross country kind of thing. So the party felt it would have been much easier to follow them than how I felt. But c'est la vie. So they get to the Dwarf Ridge area, and Nathan actually rolls really well, and he sees that the bulk of the raiding party trail turns south, almost southwest, skirting the edge of Dwarf Ridge, up on the ridge, follow it around, or the edge of the ridge, follow it around, going south. But there was another trail, smaller one, that headed straight into Dwarf Ridge, going in deeper. So they decided they would follow that smaller trail first. And they did so. And along that trail, they found a spot that they think was a camping area for somebody. And during a search roll, one of the players rolled really well and found like a nest-like area where somebody had pulled up all the grass and that kind of thing, and a couple other bed-down sites. In the process of doing that, excuse me, I got crap popping up on my screen. In the process of doing that, there's some confusion on one of the players on exactly what was going on. And he's had some tech issues, and he missed a couple of sessions, so he's trying to get himself up to speed. Excuse me. But they kind of lay out, this was happening, this is where we are, this is what they found, this is why we stopped, that kind of thing. It's nighttime, we have to make camp. But we can't push on 24 hours a day. So they stop and they make camp. The next morning, they run into some a troll hunting party. Now, they don't know that it's a hunting party, but that's what it was. Well, they do eventually, because they talk to them. But there's 2 dark trolls and 7 trollkin. And they're on some kind of a deer path kind of thing now, and they're coming up. They come around a bend, and there's these trolls there. about 24 meters in between them, a full melee round worth of running to get to each other kind of thing. And the leader of the party kind of, puts up his hand and calls out to them. And the trolls, they stopped, they kind of talked back together. And I made a reaction roll, and it was decent. And so, they're coming forward. I could have modified that because they're dark trolls during dark season out in the hills, a hunting party. But then as the trolls got closer, they saw exactly how many people there were here. The party itself is a total of 8, 2 of which are Hamakti initiates. So you got 2 dark trolls against 2 Hamakti initiates on their own. They might have taken that on with the trollkin to back them up. But with all these other guys and possibly 3 spell users, guys not wearing armor, that's iffy. And so they come up to talk, the good reaction roll kind of thing. And there's some discussion back and forth. At one point, the party asks if the trolls knew anything about the troll raid, and they had heard about the troll raid on Johnstown. They asked if they had seen the cattle, and they hadn't. Then they asked about anything else that may have been stolen from the town. And at that, they kind of stop. And they look at each other, and they take off. They split directions, running. The party, wants to pursue. This is not open rolling hills, though. This, you got forest, you got thickets, you've got small stands of little trees, you've got a few big trees around. So I had to make riding rolls to see if they would be able to maneuver through all this stuff to get around past the trolls. Now, straight speed, of course they could. But because of the terrain and obstacles, it would be much more difficult, and it would give the trolls a chance to get away. So everybody made the rolls. Nobody made it. Well, actually, the 2 Hamakti initiates actually made their rolls. And it's really interesting enough because they both rolled a 0-8. First time I rolled 2 numbers exactly the same twice in a row. Because the NPCs I was rolling for. So the 2 Hamakti initiates get around. They block the trolls to stop them. Everybody else eventually catches up. And so they interrogate the dark trolls. And the dark trolls... Well, there's 1 dark troll and 3 or 4... 3 trollkin with him. And he goes, once I start asking questions about this troll, the last thing they want to do is get involved with that, and because they had nothing to do with it, and so they're just take it off because there's no way they could fight the party. A few more questions and answers back and forth. Eventually, the party lets them go, and they get back to the trail, and they decide that they're going to go back to where the trail split and follow the cattle trail instead. So they get back to the split area, no real issues, no encounters, and then they start. Then they start heading down south, following the large trail. And as they do that, they run into a party of 5 Pelorians, probably lunar Tarshites, right? They speak talk with the party, but there's that Pelorian accent kind of thing, right? So, and one of the Hamakti actually recognized that. Hey, these guys are Pelorians. So they excuse me. So the party encounters this family of 5, a mother and father figure, and then 3 grown adult children kind of thing, and they're freaked out. The Pelorians, they're all freaked out. They're running. They're asking for help. They were attacked by trolls, and they're trying to get away kind of thing. So they ask if they can travel with the party. The party has a little conversation with them and allows them to come with them. So they're going with the party, heading down south because these Pelorians are heading towards Bolton. They get to 2 of these guys are the Malio initiates because they've got the funky shield that allows them to use the pike. And so they're traveling with them, and then they make camp on the along the trail there. They're not on the road. The road's actually probably a couple miles off to the east. So they stop here, and there's an encounter that night, so we have to do a watch schedule. And they break the watch into 4 sections. There's 2 of the PCs on each of the sections and 1 of the Balorians. So there's 3 folks awake for each watch. During 4th watch, which is just before sunrise, there's an encounter. And that's where we stopped the night. It was going to be 10 o'clock, and this part of the encounter I did not have previously rolled up, so I've got to take care of that for next session. So that's how we'll start Session 7 of the Chronicles of Carreen, Session 3 of Chapter 2, a Troll Raid. Roll initiative. Happy gaming!